Have you ever wondered why, despite all your good intentions, your spiritual life feels stuck, like you're ticking boxes but something's missing? Maybe it's that nagging fear that no matter how right you try to be, you're just spinning your wheels, never quite reaching that deeper peace, genuine purpose, or clarity you crave. Or maybe you're driven by the question, what does it really mean to live a life of devotion that actually transforms you, not just in theory, but in your day-to-day? Right now, wherever you're listening from, pause for a moment, find somewhere a bit quiet, put the phone on Do Not Disturb, pop in your headphones, and leave the rest of the day at the door. This isn't just another video to have running in the background. This is an invitation to step into a proper, honest conversation, like the ones you'd have with a mate over a cuppa after a mad day, where words get real and the world outside pauses. Here's why you need to stick around. Today we're unpacking ancient wisdom that gets straight to the heart of devotion. No fasts, no preachy jargon, just the real building blocks of a spiritual life that works. If you've ever wanted to go beyond just rituals and really understand how to transform your habits, relationships, and even your sense of self, this chat is for you. By the end, you'll not only know the rules, but the why behind them, the psychology, the principles, and how they can flip your perspective and help you build a life that feels meaningful from the inside out. This episode isn't just for the spiritually curious. It's for anyone who's ever felt lost, overwhelmed, or desperate for direction. Ready? Brace yourself, because what you're about to hear will challenge what you think you know about devotion, shine a light on all the ways we self-sabotage, and arm you with the tools to finally break through. Let's get into it.
Oi, Arjun, you know what's been eating at me lately? We all talk a big game about living with purpose, but I'm not sure half of us actually know where to start with real devotion. All I see online is these generic gratitude lists and manifest your goals nonsense.
Yeah, it's almost like people are chasing that quick fix for fulfillment. But I get you, it's surface level. I came across something the other day, proper old school wisdom from the likes of Rupa Goswami, talking about 64 principles. Makes you realize we might all be missing the basics.
64? May, that's more than the rules of cricket. What's it all about? Why so many?
I thought that too. But it's not about following them like a robot. It's about transforming your mindset. See, Rupa Goswami and his brother Sanatana put these principles together not just to create boundaries, but to help us align every part of us, body, mind, speech, towards something bigger.
Right, but before we get into the weeds, why do you think these old texts still matter? I mean, surely the world's changed a bit since their time.
That's the thing, Maya. It hasn't. Not when it comes to the mind. People then struggled with distractions, boredom, ego, the lot. Just like us. These rules aren't about the how as much as the why. Like, take one of the basics. Accept a spiritual master. It's not about blind following. It's about admitting, I'm not the center of the universe. I need a guide.
Is that like having a mentor for life stuff, not just a yoga teacher or a guru with an Instagram?
Exactly. It's guidance grounded in experience, not likes or retweets. The point is, everyone needs structure, otherwise we drift. So these 64 items sort of break down the journey from total novice to someone who's living, breathing devotion in little everyday choices.
Okay, walk me through the basics. They can't all be about sitting in lotus and charting, can they?
Not even close. The first set, the really crucial stuff, is basically find a proper guide, get initiated, actually take instructions on how to practice, and hardest bit is obey those with actual faith and devotion.
Obey? You know, people hear that and think, nope, out of here, that's cultish.
Fair, but hear me out. It's not robotic obedience. It's more like when you trust your personal trainer, you don't question the routines every day. Same with a proper spiritual mentor. If you pick someone genuine, you trust their path. It's about surrender, not subservience.
All right, so far so sensible, but what's this about the details versus principles?
Good shout. Here's where it gets interesting. The principle might be accept a guide. The detail is how you follow them. Could be totally different for you or me. Like say, your mentor tells you to meditate at sunrise. Mine says, evening suits you better, crack on then. Both follow the spirit, not just the letter.
So it's not one size fits all then? It's more bespoke life coaching?
Exactly. Spirituality isn't copy-paste. The core ideas, have a mentor, seek advice, be open to giving up comforts for growth, are constant, but the daily form can differ. That's why Rupa Goswami left the details out. He wanted flexibility, but also some non-negotiables.
Okay, let's get into those non-negotiables. Lay them out for me, one by one, and don't skip. The listeners are going to want the whole lot.
All right, let's do the 10 basics first. Accept the shelter of a real deal spiritual master, not just a pretty face, someone who lives what they preach. Get initiated, like making a proper commitment to the process. Learn directly from your mentor instead of picking random YouTube clips. Obey their guidance with actual faith, no half-assed efforts. Follow in the footsteps of the greats, from the old masters to more recent saints, under a mentor's watch. Always ask questions, don't just accept things blindly. Be ready to give up anything for your spiritual progress, even if it stings. Only take what you truly need from the world and no more. Fast on Ekadashi, which is a special lunar day, discipline for body and mind. Respect sacred trees like the banyan. Tiny gestures, big reminders of our place in things.
Some of these sound a bit foreign, like fasting on Akadashi or worshipping trees. Why does that matter for someone in London busy with deadlines and flat hunting?
Look, it's less about the tree itself and more about forming habits that remind you you're part of something bigger, like respecting nature instead of seeing it as just resources. Fasting, that's discipline, showing you're not run by your cravings.
So all these basics, they're meant for what? You said regulative principles earlier.
Yeah, the idea is these 10 set you up for actual practice. If you get this right, everything else grows on top. Rupa Goswami literally says, if you do these, you'll move ahead fast.
So why do most people stall? Why do we struggle even when we know the steps?
Because we get stuck in the weeds, mate. The next 10 rules are all about what to avoid where we self-sabotage. Want to hear that lot?
Bring it on.
Right. Avoid the company of non-devotees or naysayers dragging you down. Don't bother sharing deep truths with those not ready or willing. Don't get lost building massive temples or flexing outwardly, keep it sincere. Don't get obsessed with consuming endless spiritual content. Avoid over-intellectualizing. Don't be slack in daily dealings, integrity matters. Never swing wildly between grief and elation about gain or loss. Keep the balance. Never disrespect any demigods, even if they're not your main path. Respect is universal. Don't harm anyone, even slightly. Be careful to avoid offenses when chanting or worshipping. Never tolerate blasphemy of Krishna or genuine devotees. Stand up for your beliefs.
That's a punch, innit? Especially about not trying to convert people who aren't ready. Feels countercultural in the age of sharing everything online.
Precisely. It's about picking your battles, not forcing your way. It's respect for free will, innit?
The part about not taking joy in gains or being shattered by losses, that's a killer. We're all constantly worried about money, jobs, what people think.
And that's exactly why it's in there. It's not just spiritual speak, it's psychology. If you're blown about by every win or setback, you're never stable. True devotion means you've anchored yourself somewhere deeper.
All right, but here's what I'm wondering. Of all these, is there a top 3 golden rules?
Out of the whole lot, the first 3 are the absolute pillars. Accept the spiritual guide, actually get initiated, and serve them sincerely. Everything else flows from there. It's like if you build a house but don't lay the foundation, doesn't matter how good the curtains are.
Makes sense. But let's talk about the rest. You said there are 64? That's a proper list. What are those about?
Yeah, so after those 20, 10 do's and 10 don'ts, there's 44 more, covering all the ways you can use your senses. Sight, speech, action, everything, offered up in service.
Can you give examples? Otherwise, it sounds abstract.
Sure. Take the practice of marking your body with tilaka, the little clay marks. You walk outside, someone sees you, instantly gets reminded of Krishna. Tiny move, massive ripple.
Like a football fan's scarf. Shows the world what you stand for?
Exactly. Or wearing a garland that's been offered to the deity. A mark that your priorities are somewhere else, not on brands or showing off.
So it's rituals, but with meaning. Anything more active?
Plenty. Dancing before the deities, bowing when you see your mentor or the deity, standing up in places of worship, joining in festivals or processions. And it's not just showy stuff. The idea is get the body and mind involved.
That's fascinating. And what about practical daily life? Is there space for office goers, city life, commuting, the whole lot?
100%. Like one part is accepting only what's needed, so you can be mindful, not hoarding or treating life like a supermarket sale. Or always observing certain disciplines on special days, visiting temples, associating with more advanced people, and crucially, offering everything you do back to the divine. Even your, quote, boring meetings become sacred that way.
Is there a thread tying it all together beyond just ritual?
Absolutely. The whole point is to employ every part of yourself, body, mind, words, in selfless service, not for show, but to transform how you relate to yourself, others, and the world.
Some people would say, I just want peace, mate. Isn't this overkill?
Not really if you think about it. Peace isn't passive, it's built step by step. These principles aren't there to make life harder, but to train you to become stable, grateful, and focused, like learning an instrument. It's discipline that creates freedom.
Okay, but why 64? Why not boil it to 10 commandments, you know?
Because real life is messy and nuanced. These 64 cover all the little cracks, the hidden spots in human nature where ego, laziness, or apathy creep in. You need a holistic toolkit, not just a sledgehammer.
Which of these do you struggle with most?
Honestly, remembering the why every day. It's easy to turn even devotion into another tick box. But then I think about how these rules aren't meant to control you, they're meant to point you home. Every single one's a nudge. Remember, you're not alone. There's meaning here.
That's beautiful. If someone wanted to start today, what would you tell them?
Start with the first 10. Pick a mentor or at least seek out someone who's walked the path you respect. Make it official. Get some initiation, even if it's just a daily private commitment at first. Ask questions, follow advice, give up some little luxury for a higher cause, fast on a holy day, respect the environment around you.
And if they don't have a temple nearby or grew up in another tradition?
Doesn't matter. These are principles, not dogmas. Find the essence. Substitute rituals if you must. The point, dedicate time, energy, actions for something greater than just your own wants. That's universal.
I love that. What about the 5 super important rules at the end? You said those trump the rest.
Right. They're like the crown jewels of devotion. Worship the deity, hear deeper wisdom like sacred texts, actually hang out with other seekers, join in group chanting or music, and if possible, live somewhere sacred or turn your flat into a spiritual space.
That group bit struck me. So much of modern spirituality is solo. Why is community so vital?
Community keeps you honest. When you're alone, it's too easy to fool yourself or give up. Being around others reminds you of the standard, gives support, and multiplies your progress. It's why when we go down the pub together after a rough week, we feel better. It's not the pint, it's not even the chat, it's the shared experience.
What about those who've messed up, missed the boat, broken the rules?
No one's perfect. Even the text says, start again. The rules aren't a prison, they're a path home. Every step matters, even the smallest. And honestly, messing up just proves you care enough to notice. That's huge.
Mate, this chat has been massive for me. I started off thinking this was all just old school ritual, but now I get that each rule has a purpose. Training the mind, building resilience, keeping us connected to what matters.
Same. Sharing it makes it real for me too. And let's be honest, in a world where everyone's selling quick hacks, actually sitting with real, time-tested wisdom is rare.
So, what's the one thing you want everyone listening to take away?
Don't wait for perfect understanding. Pick one principle, just one, and live it this week. Then stack another on. Before you know it, you're changing. Not for a show, not for others, but for yourself from the inside out.
I love that. Let's have a brew later and see how many of these we can actually put into practice.
You're on. And maybe we can rope in the rest of the office for a mindfulness day. Start a London Bhakti crew, yeah?
Never say never. Right, folks, thanks for hanging with us. Remember, wherever you're at on your journey, it's never too late to start walking.
That right there is your blueprint for living devotion, not just talking about it. Remember that promise from the start? If you've made it here, you've unlocked the core truths, discovered the hidden obstacles, and now hold the power to make real, lasting change. Now, don't keep this to yourself. Share this episode with that one mate who probably popped into your head while listening. You never know. What's obvious to you could be exactly what they need this week. Scroll down, drop your thoughts or your own experiences in the comments. This isn't just another chat show. It's a living space to gather stories, lessons, and solidarity. Make your words matter. They could light up someone else's day, just like these principles did for you. Still here? Smash that like button, not for us, but as a tiny act of self-recognition. I'm here, I'm learning, and I'm not alone in this. And if you want to keep building together, subscribe and join this growing circle. This isn't just another YouTube channel. It's your community, your journey, your next step. You've got this.
Explore more reflections on love, surrender, and the divine. Watch the next video or subscribe for deeper journeys.
Love is not the end, it's the way.